Yeah, that's always a good sign.
Welcome everybody to Mullins Over Music, where we mull over musical quandaries and all that jazz. Swear I end up saying something different every time.
I love jazz, man.
Oh yeah, and we can get into that in a little bit. Today I have a very special guest, Mr. Monte from Bleed the Sky. Thank you for coming on.
My pleasure. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah. So, we always got to start off the podcast with a funny question.
Okay.
Because where would we be without funny questions?
Comedy is what makes life worth living.
Exactly. This question doesn't seem very funny. It's honestly a little morbid now that I think about it. It says, what do you think your last meal would be if you were on death row?
Oh, I've thought about this. I've definitely thought about this. I would have, I don't know if anything funny about it, I suppose. It is a little morbid, but I would have some fucking gnarly, like, South Carolina barbecue.
Ooh.
I would have some ribs. I'd have the whole, I mean, if it's death row, right? I'd have the whole 9 yards, the ribs, the brisket, the sausage, the chicken, the sides, the fixins, the cornbread. And then I'd factor in something with blackberries in there, because blackberries are my favorite fruit for the kind of the dessert. And then I'd have some, I don't know, 24-year-old Islay single malt scotch straight up. Me and some friends have done this thought experiment before. We've gone down the rabbit hole. Did you ever see the episode of King of the Hill where they make a club out of it? Like all the guys who aren't Hank make the club, like the last meal club, and they all like fix themselves their actual last meal, and they dress up and they all sit down at the table with this beautiful like full course of like, you know, Dale and Boomhauer and Bill, and they have all their food, right? And then they're all too scared to eat it because they think it's their last meal, so they think like, fuck, if I eat it I'm gonna die. Anyway, yeah, I've obviously given this a lot of thought, but yeah, man, I think that would be mine. What would yours be?
Oh, that's so tough. I do have to throw in some Carolina barbecue in there. I can't eat brisket because I'm allergic to beef, funny enough.
Oh, brutal.
I know, but gotta have some pulled pork in there. It's classic, you know, the barbecue sauce. I like a thicker barbecue sauce over a vinegar-based barbecue sauce.
Nice. I agree. Yeah.
Then we gotta have, since we're going all out here, gotta have some classic Southern fried chicken. Like, gotta get it. There's this one place. They take the original KFC recipe.
Okay.
What it's called. I'll look it up later and let you know. But it has the classic fried chicken the way it used to be before they whatever they're doing now. So I got to get that. You know what? We're gonna throw in a 5-meat pizza on there. Just have
hell yeah, man.
You possibly have, and then
make it happen.
I want to watch the Lord of the Rings extended cuts.
That sounds great, dude. Last year around this time, I did the Lord of the Rings extended cuts with some friends. There's this couple my wife and I hang out with. They're real cool, and we do like themed movie nights every once in a while, and that like once a month or so. And that was the one. And we dropped acid and watched all 3 of the extended editions. And like not only is it the movie on the theme, but it's also like we do like the desserts and drinks and food. So we try to like kind of weave that all in. So like we'll be in charge of the drinks and they'll be in charge of the food or whatever. We'll kind of deal it out. So we do like we just did a Christmas one the other day. But the Lord of the Rings is a good move. Yeah. It's always a good time.
Home Alone.
Yeah, Home Alone's tight. But we watched. We didn't watch that. We tried to do like a little more like avant-garde or like something like that's like we haven't seen. So we watched the 1998 like god awful horror movie Jack Frost.
Yeah,
which was like like, and everyone I've talked to about it says they remember seeing the like, VHS cover in like movie stores back in the day because it was like the evil looking snowman and it scared everyone as a kid, but no one had seen it. So a buddy of mine, he was talking about how he was watching it and he was like, "Holy shit! How have I never seen this? It's like trying to be Evil Dead, and it's got some really cool vibes to it. It's got some cool like you can tell." They're horror fans and like horror comedy fans, but like the budget is just so god awful. And but yeah, I'm just flabbergasted that like everybody I universally talk to has the same experience with it. That they're like, "Oh, I saw this in my local Blockbuster." Like, how did such a shitty movie get countrywide distribution? But hey, it was a good time for any of your listeners out there looking for a real shitty fun horror romp. I think it's free on Amazon. On Prime or whatever, but yeah, Jack Frost.
I think it's on HBO as well.
Okay, word. Or is that Jack Frost the horror movie or the one that came out the year before with Michael Keaton, which is like a wholesome family movie?
Yeah, you got to make sure you get the right one because
yeah.
I've seen both and drastically different movies. You go to put on one and you're like, I don't think this is the right one.
Yeah.
It's like that thing where you see the wrong subtitles at the bottom of the screen. Jack Frost.
Yeah. Like, wait a second. This is well, let's see where it goes.
Yeah. Something's not matching up here.
Yeah. But yeah, man, just getting into the Christmas spirit and hanging out. It's nice and cold here in Portland, Oregon.
Oh, I'm sure it is, man. It was cold today, and I live in North Carolina, so
okay, word.
I know where to get all the good brisket and stuff.
You know all the good stuff, yeah, man. I was gonna say I could hear a little bit of a southern accent in there, so I was gonna ask you where you're from. I have a lot of family from Arkansas and Mississippi and Tennessee, so I'm very familiar with that neck of the woods.
Yeah, I was born in West Virginia, and then I moved to North Carolina when I was 12.
Okay. Is Asheville in South Carolina or North Carolina? I always forget.
Asheville's in North Carolina.
Okay. So I guess North Carolina barbecue, because that was where I've had the best barbecue of my life was North Carolina. Yeah. I'm the worst though. I do get them mixed up. I have a buddy. He's one of my oldest friends, and I had to put his address in my phone because I literally kept forgetting whether he lived in North or South Carolina.
Don't you hate that? You're like, don't you live here? No. Oh,
No.
over one. No.
Close enough. He was getting kind of pissed off when I had, I hit him up to send him something in the mail, and he's like, "Really, man? You don't know?" Touring through there, I'm like, are you close or where are you right now? It's like, I'm nowhere near you, man. Anyway.
Great. But I'm glad to hear you're getting in the Christmas spirit. We are over here too. Started watching the best Christmas movie, Harry Potter. No,
all 7 of them. Yeah, I've been meaning to watch some of those again. Those are pretty great. I guess they're not Christmas movies per se, but they always have really good Christmas scenes in them. They always they really know how to do it up. I've been to that Hogwarts thing at Universal Studios in LA during Christmas time, and they go all out, and that's pretty cool too.
I've always wanted to go to that. I don't know whether to go to Universal during Christmas time or during Halloween, because they got Halloween horror nights.
Oh, word. Yeah, I think that's probably worth it to do. If you're into that shit, I think that's definitely the move, because they go all out for that. And, like, do Disneyland during like Christmassy, because that's wholesome as fuck.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna go during Halloween, I'd go to Universal just because they go all out with the horror aspect. Because they have the Universal monsters. They have it's the horror. So yeah, and they like Evil Dead is under them too, so they can do like not Evil Dead. I'm sorry, The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
So they can do
and then they got the
anyway.
I love it, man. But yeah, apparently ABC Family considers Harry Potter to be Christmas movies. So,
hey, all good.
It's like, is Die Hard a Christmas movie? No.
No, I don't think so. No, just because the movie takes place around Christmas doesn't necessarily make it a Christmas movie. I'm in that camp where I like Die Hard. All right, it's a great movie. I got nothing against it, but is it gonna go on my list with Christmas Vacation and now either Jack Frost? Probably not.
No, I'm under the same camp too. I People are like, Die Hard's a Christmas movie. No, no, no. Home Alone, maybe, but
I think Home Alone is safely in the Christmas movie umbrella. I think it safely falls into that. No one's gonna argue with you if you say Home Alone is a Christmas movie.
no. I heard Home Alone is Die Hard for kids and Die Hard is Home Alone for adults.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Yeah, that sounds about right. Did you see that Silent Night, Deadly Night, the one with the dude from Stranger Things where he's Santa Claus? And have you seen that one? It's on Netflix, I think.
Oh, it's on Netflix.
Oh, it's on something. Yeah, but like it's basically Die Hard where he comes in and finds himself stranded there and has to fight all these mercenaries. And yeah, that was cute.
Die Hard.
I can dig it. Yeah, so there you go. So if you want to make Die Hard a Christmas movie, that actually did it. So that one was great. I like that one.
I love it, man. Well, let's move past this Christmas stuff. Although it is Christmas time, and I appreciate you humoring my Christmas spirit.
Sure thing, man.
So, gotta ask the first question about your new record. You guys are writing a new one.
Yes, sir.
Let me hear about it a little bit. I know you got something to say.
It's got riffs, it's got blast beats, it's got some breakdowns, it's got me making dinosaur noises, it's got everything you'd ever need. Yeah, man, we've been working pretty diligently on it, just kind of working on tracks. We have a lot of tracks in multiple different states of, done, more or less. We just finished a video. We need to change, like, one last little thing needs to change on it, but we just shot a video with a very cool special guest who, unfortunately, I can't say now, but he did the guest spot on the track, and then we flew him out to LA, and he's in the video with us. And it was suffice to say, a dream come true to work with him. He was really, really cool, and he sounds awesome. He did a killer job. So that video's done and dusted, and then we are going to film 2 more videos, film some more stuff early February. So the rest of this month and then all of January is just going to be more writing. It's just me. It's mainly me and one of our guitar players do the majority of the writing. We'll kind of bounce ideas back and forth to each other to get song like arrangements and structures, do like really kind of rough sketches and skeletons, and then build off that. And then late January, the guys are going to get together, and Austin, our drummer, is going to lay down the live drums for everything. So they'll kind of have time to we obviously bounce everything in a Dropbox. So he has time to kind of review it and kind of, pitch ideas as well if he has them. But if not, then he just kind of takes them all, internalizes them. And then when he tracks live, and then kind of updates things. And then we tweak things as needed. And I track everything from home. I do everything on this, sitting right here usually, which is nice because I work from home most of the time, and I have the ability to do that. But yeah, we're taking a lot of influences from a lot of different places. I mean, Bleed the Sky's been around for 20 years. I was a big fan of that new wave of American heavy metal stuff, and we definitely want to pay homage to that in a lot of ways, but we still want to kind of put our foot into what we like now and what we're into. And our tastes are very eclectic, I'd say, in this genre. Like, I'm much more into death metal, and our guitar player is much more into the slam and core side. I guess it's not very that eclectic. It's just, I just realized this as I was saying it. I'm really in the death metal and he's really in the death core. We're the odd couple. No. But no, I'll bring in other elements, and maybe I'll bring in things that are more sometimes super heavy and sometimes super commercial. I really like, I'm listening to the new Spectral Voice record, or single, I guess it is, which is the guys from Blood Incantation. And I really dig really, really dark, heavy shit. And also I like Spirit Box was one of my most listened to records of this year. So I try to, keep a foot in both worlds. So we gotta check each other and bring that out. But as far as like themes or like overarching kind of, vibe on what it's going to be called, I'm still working on that. I still have a lot of ideas I'm kind of formulating. I want to see kind of how the songs all kind of fit together, kind of see them at like a, bird's eye view, and then kind of give them like the vibe I'm feeling from it. But we're hoping to be done and to have it out by the summertime. I think that'd be, we're shopping to labels. We've had some contacts and some strong conversations with some potential label homes, but at the end of the day, we'll see what makes sense for us. We'll see what makes sense for the band. Obviously we're not doing this full time anymore. We all have our lives. I'm expecting my first baby in March, so I'm not going to be hitting the road super hard after that, obviously. And yeah, all the other guys have kids, and we have mortgages and wives and whatnot. So we want to get out there and do it as much as we can in a smart and reasonable fashion. And again, finding the right label home is going to be largely dependent on that. So yeah, irons in the fire. Things are working. Things are moving.
I love it, man. Do you know how many singles you guys are going to put out before the album?
I want to say three more. I want to say three, because I think we had that video we just wrapped, and then the two more videos, and we might do like a visualizer or something. I'm not really certain what the game plan is for that. I know it'll be a few. I mean, obviously the whole like album cycle format is kind of dead. It's I don't know if it's dead. There are still bands that successfully do it really well, and God bless them. But for a band that's not a full-time band anymore, I don't know if doing like the whole like album cycle, tour your ass off, write another one, rinse and repeat workflow is really the most conducive to our success. So it could just be singles here and there. It could be EPs. I mean, I know we're in the studio working on these tracks, and we want to have a full album worth of material. If we want to release it as a full album, we will. But again, if we find another strategy that we want to go for, we're not really married to any specific, avenue as of now.
Okay. That's good because you're right. The album cycle, typical album cycle doesn't really work for most bands anymore. I mean, you gotta throw out maybe one full length record now for these newer bands. I mean, take a look at Spirit Box, like you said, they've put out only one full record, and then they had all the singles beforehand, and then their new EP, which was fantastic.
Yeah, they just that's it's a weird kind of paradigm now, I guess. Because yeah, speaking of them, to continue on that, like before Eternal Blue came out, they just put out singles, or like then I think they compiled it all into one EP. Yeah. But just the way people consume media these days is way different from when I was a kid, which is so weird to be a part of that shift and to see that. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we just like doing it. We like making this music. We're good friends, and we like playing live a lot, especially after the last few years we weren't really able to do it. So I think that's just whatever we can do to get on stage and write some good new stuff and have it be a reason to get on and play that new stuff, as well as like the legacy material, and kind of do those throwbacks. That'll be the best of both worlds. And yeah, well, we'll see what shakes out. It's just, we're doing it for the enjoyment of it, for the reason of it.
Yeah, that sounds great, man. And when you guys come down here, let me know, and we'll go get some good brisket and barbecue.
Dude, absolutely. I will take you up on that 100%.
Yep, I've got three great spots I'm thinking of right now. And
Okay.
I got Italian spot called Napoli. It's run by old Italians, at least I think it is. But it's got the old Italian decor and stuff, and
Sweet.
fantastic. You will dig it for sure.
I'm into it, man. Sign me up.
Of course. But you answered a lot of my questions all at once. I appreciate
I tend to ramble. I tend to be loquacious, so that's why they put me on these podcasts, because I never shut the fuck up. So sorry, and thank you.
it. No, sorry, man. I love it. So, how do you go about writing lyrics? Do you just go based on a random theme, or wh- what's your thought process when writing lyrics and doing
Yeah,
prose?
it's kind of twofold. I'll if I think of something or hear something in the wild that just sounds cool, I'll be like, oh, that sounds cool, and I'll just I have an ongoing note where I just jot a bunch of those down, or like I'll hear some phrase that sound like some turn of phrase or some metaphor that's like maybe in the zeitgeist, or a friend says it, or I hear it like in an old movie or something. And I never heard that before. And then I rack my brain. I'll search Spotify because you can search by lyrics now on Spotify, and obviously the internet in general, to make sure another band isn't like taking that and putting it on a shirt or something. And then I'll put that in my back pocket, and again, or in that note, and kind of save that for if I need something here or there. But for the most part, yeah, it is kind of going off of a theme. It's going off of a just kind of some random idea that I get after having some jazz cabbage and hanging out, or or just talking about kind of popcorning ideas with the guys back and forth on certain things. um and you got to try to I got to try, at least I do, actively um find those new topics and not kind of tread the same ground. So I'll find myself, if I don't have like an anchor topic to like kind of orbit around, kind of write things, then I'll kind of come back to the same kind of stuff. And there's definitely, I have a well of material I can write from my own personal experience and my own psyche and issues there, as I'm sure most metal vocalists do. But again, you can get kind of samey if you do that over and over again. So basically having that theme and then just writing out it, like I'll never like think of the theme and then sit there and write a bunch of lyrics and like be, oh, there it is, I got it. I'll think of the theme, I'll write some lyrics, and then I'll just let that kind of ruminate. I'll kind of have it in the back of my mind when I'm walking my dogs, or I'm doing something boring at work, or watching TV or whatever. And then my brain will kind of have that as like a flag to be like, oh, I'll think of something that kind of fits in with that vibe, and then I'll put that, and I'll have theme A note in my phone, and then I'll just be adding little lines and phrases and like little things that kind of like fit with that sound metal, that kind of work into that theme and build off of that. And then when I'm sitting there in front of the song in my DAW, like right here, looking at my computer, I'll go through the parts and I'll start to like map out and phrase out things. And then I'll be able to like, I'll hear a part, I'll kind of phrase it out phonetically on like what the vocal needs to do, like just scat it out, like da 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 da, whatever that is. And then I'll go through those lines in my note in my phone, and I'll kind of change them around, like, oh, that kind of fits, but if I say it this way, then that'll fit into that cadence of what I want to be there. And then there's the matter of like beginning, middle, and ending it, of like, okay, the lyrics start with this, and what's the big ending. And I mean, I've been doing it 20 years, so you just get this like weird shorthand on what you're able to do and what works and what doesn't, at least to my experience. But yeah, I'd say that pretty much sums it up. But every once in a while, inspiration will strike, and I'll write like 3 paragraphs of lyrics, just boom. But it's something. It's a relationship I have that's very love hate. That part of me hates writing lyrics, and part of me loves it, because it's there's nothing feels shittier than not being able to write anything good. You know what I mean? And it's like, and doing this long, it's like, that's a self, what's the opposite of affirmation? Like the opposite of self-affirmation, where I'm like, fuck, I've been doing this long and I can't think of anything good. That writer's block is a bitch. But then the other side of that coin is that when I do write something really good and it clicks in, then that feeling of like clicking that in, and the perfect lyric and the perfect phrasing in the part, and kind of tying something together. I mean, that's why I keep doing it, is because that's just, the best feeling in the world. So yeah, self-loathing and arrogance, I guess.
I love it, man. That you put how I feel about writing lyrics into words that I haven't been able to. It's you're right, man. It's a lot
Love
of
hate.
yeah, love hate at its finest.
It's
So
trial and error too, right? It's you like you just got to do it every day. It's that one of those, the and the War of Art, that book, the Art of War.
yeah,
The War of Art. Yeah, the Art of War. No, the War of Art is the one that's Art of War is Sun Tzu, but
yeah.
War of Art is the book that talks about like just doing it and treating it like a job and treating it like a muscle and just kind of just keeping at it and understanding that the failure is part of the process. But anyway, yeah, I cut you off. What were you gonna say?
Oh, you're good. Both are good books. Very
I don't think I haven't read the Art of War, but that's like 700 pages long, and I'm not trying to like take over any like hordes of horsebackmen. So I don't think it's not required reading.
Are you sure about that? I heard some Mongolian Empire is coming your way.
You don't look stupid not having read the Art of War.
Yeah, you never know when those Mongolian armies are going to come after you.
True. You got a point.
Yeah. But what DAW are you using?
I use Logic, just because I have a Mac for work. I've had a Mac for work for the last like 3 jobs I've had, so I got used to working on that. And luckily, Kevin, our guitar player who I write with, he also uses Logic, so it makes things a lot easier.
Logic is my favorite. I found it works best for user friendliness and jotting down ideas as fast as you can,
Yeah, it may not be the most powerful, but to your point, like, I mean, Apple's just great at merging their software and their hardware. Like they optimize their programs for their hardware, and it just works. It's it rarely, if ever, crashes on me, which is bonkers when you think of other DAWs. But yeah, I mean, I'm not a whiz in it. I can fucking, I know very little at the whole universe of Logic, the DAW. I can do probably 2% of what's available to me. I can track myself. I can get it sounding decent. Can bounce the stems out for mixing and mastering, and that's about it.
Hey, that's half the battle right there, man.
Yeah. I wish I would have learned to do it earlier. I've been doing it for 5 or 6 years now, but I mean, I'm old, man. I'm 36, and I'll be 36 soon. And yeah, I wish I would have learned how to track myself and how to use a DAW when in my early 20s. If anybody out there, any kids are listening, that any vocalists that want any advice, from unasked for advice, unsolicited advice from me, is to, if you aren't recording yourself now, then go start, because with the internet and how cheap everything is now, it's like I got to be such a better vocalist after I started tracking myself and having access to it and just being able to feel comfortable, and kind of, I learned so much about my voice. I learned so much about the ins and outs on how to track and how to sound good, and not being under the gun or under the dollar when I'm in a studio recording. Like, not having that stress is just like, it's so invaluable to learn the way your voice works in and out in a studio situation. So yeah, kick myself for that one. Hindsight's 2020, but yeah, that's the biggest piece of advice I could give anybody. If you were going to ask about advice for anyone, that's what I would have said.
I love it, man. Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna ask.
Yeah, yes.
I swear I should just let you talk, and you'll get through all my questions eventually.
I mean, I've done 1 or 2 podcasts in my day.
You guys do the Josta podcast most recently?
Yeah, that was the most recent one. That was really cool. Josta's obviously a big influence on me. I love Hatebreed. I love his stuff. He's such a positive, like, hardworking force in the scene who like always wants to raise up young bands and is just hustling. He's a fucking hardworking promoter, hustler. Like, he's just a good dude. From everyone I've talked to in the scene, obviously I don't know him that well, only chatted with him for like an hour, but still, that was fucking surreal, man. I did a podcast for a while back in the day, I kind of regret not continuing it, but life kind of got nutty there for a while. But I did one for a bit, and I my inspiration was his show, and so that was really surreal to get to talk to him about Bleed the Sky, about my other projects, about Hatebreed, about we got into like weird talk about merch cuts and philosophy about the industry, and yeah, I was pinching myself the whole time. That was fucking weird.
Man, and speaking of merch cuts, that's Ronnie Radke's now starting a war on merch cuts as of what, yesterday?
Yeah. I mean, it's a day that ends in Y. Ronnie Radke is starting a war on something,
Yep.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't want to go too down that rabbit hole because, like, I mean, if you're doing your own load in and your own count in, and your guy is selling the merch, then absolutely there's no way in hell a venue should take a merch cut, But if you're playing in an arena and it's a union thing and it's a contract thing with like Live Nation, I guess that's what it is. But lo and behold, if you're playing a fucking arena, you can't have just one dude doing merch, right? So you get into like the ins and outs, like the profit margins of like, okay, so are we going to bring 7 or 8 people on the road just to do merch at arenas? If I'm in Lamb of God or whatever, if I'm in that camp, are we bringing 10 people on the road with us just to do merch and paying them? Is it cheaper to just pay the merch cut every night and have all of the load in, all of the count in, all of the load out, and all of like the financials all handled by the local venue? And the way they pay those kids wages, whoever's slanging t-shirts placed all around the arena, is from those merch cuts. Now, I don't purport to be a whiz or a master. I'm not a manager. I'm not a TM, even though I've done a little bit of that in my day. But when it comes to shit that size, you got to think it makes more financial sense to just pay the merch cut. Now that that's trickled down into these smaller venues and these like theaters and shit, yeah, that's fucked. And then you get into like the blurry middle ground of like a lot of Canadian venues are really shitty about this. I remember like they will count you in, like so like if I was out up there touring and I remember playing a couple of the theaters up there, and we brought in all the merch. They forced us to count in every bit of stock that we had in front of them. So like the fucking manager or whoever it was handling like the operations or whatever would like get the counts from us on the merch and like kind of go through it and confirm it. And then at the end of and we'd sell the merch all night. So our camp, they didn't give us anybody. We sold the merch all night. And then at the end of the night, they counted us out to make sure that the numbers were right. And then we paid them a merch cut of that amount. So at the end of the day, what did they do? What service did they provide us other than giving us? They'll say like, oh, we gave you a wall to sell your wares. Well, it's like, well, we're the band playing on the stage, so people will come in and buy your booze, because no one will come in if you're not, we're fucking 3,000 miles from home, like what? Anyway, so there's some gray area there. So Ronnie Radke, in rare form, is not wrong, and I see his point. I think there should be a shift in the the areas and shades of gray on what there is there. I think people need to figure out what that looks like, and musicians need to take that back, because there's money that just being fucking thrown down the drain to these venues that claim that they can't operate without it. But anyway, I'll get a fucking tinfoil hat on here in a minute and start going down a rabbit hole about that. But
and speaking of the booze, it always tends to be pretty expensive.
Yeah, I mean that's the dude. Bars, live music venues are alcohol like sellers. It's not like they're like no one. You're not making money on the door if you own a venue. If anything, those margins are razor thin, depending on if anything, you might be in the black at the end of the quarter for that. But at the end of the day, you're making all your profit off booze. That's what that's for. So no one's buying your booze if we're not playing our songs, you know. So I don't know.
Nobody's spending $5 on liquid death water.
Yeah, seriously,
And it's good water, don't get me wrong.
seriously, yeah,
But
yeah.
it's expensive water.
It's one of the greatest marketing ploys in the last 20 years. As someone who I work in marketing, and that's like, god damn, when that stuff started hitting the scene, I was really impressed by what they were doing. They're very smart, very smart.
I didn't think about it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm always like, oh damn. If only I'd thought, it's a day late and a dollar short. If only I'd thought of that, right?
yeah, seriously. Yeah, I tried to look at if I can invest in them. I was like, how can I invest in these guys? I legit remember like a couple years ago looked to see if they had any like job openings. I'm like, I want to work for this company. They're doing it right. They're doing it right. But yeah, it's fine water. It's all right.
Monster has water now, like the water that they used to have backstage for everybody.
For Warp Tour, yeah. Oh yeah.
They're bringing it back and selling it to the public.
That shit was so disgusting, dude. I, I was on Warp Tour a couple times back in the day, and that was, oh my god, that maybe, I mean, most of the time it was warm when I had it, so that probably is part of the equation. But okay, good for them. Are they calling it Warp Tour water?
I think so. They're calling it like
Okay,
either backstage water or warp tour water or something like that.
amazing,
It's got
amazing.
the
Hey,
monster in the van stuff on it.
sweet. I mean, hey, if it's not coming in plastic bottles, I'm okay with it. You know, we don't need any more of that shit.
No,
Cans
absolutely.
all day, tall cans all day, boy.
And then I will say the worst water I've ever had at a venue or a festival. I went to Blue Ridge this year and I got
Oh, you went to Blue Ridge?
yes.
Oh shit. Okay.
The water there was I got sick from it.
Oh,
I got I forget what it's called. It's a stomach bug.
gonorrhea, not gonorrhea. Giardia,
Yeah.
Giardia, Giardia, gonorrhea. They sound the same. They're not anywhere near each other.
But yeah, I got Giardia from it. Me and my wife did because we were chugging down that water because it was
Mm.
hot and they only had two stations.
Oh my god, man.
Dude,
A buddy of mine played the day. He played the day that it went well. Um, and
Friday.
yeah, and he said it was fine. He was like, yeah, go out. He's like, I heard all these horror stories, and my buddies are the other guys like, what's going on over here, over there? And they were like, I don't know, it was fine for them, but like, it just went to shit so fast, I guess. And like, I watched a couple rundowns online, and people like explaining their situation and their experience, and it was like it sounded like hell, man. Glad you got out of there alive.
Yeah, us too, man. But yeah, Friday of that festival was really good. I mean, Job for a Cowboy, we saw them. We didn't get to see Electric Callboy. Yeah, I'm done. Uh, they ran into some issues. Tank
Yeah,
Patek got that whole video on it.
yeah, I watched his video on that too, man. Yeah, that sucks because they're fun.
I was so looking forward to Spaceman, got a rocket on my back. You know,
That shit is, oh, it's so much fun. It's so ridiculous.
saw Flyleaf instead.
That's cool because yeah, they were gone for a while, right? And then they came back. It was like
Yeah,
with their OG singer or something like that.
yeah, because they did one record with a different singer other than Lacey Sturm,
Okay,
but it didn't last maybe a year before
okay.
all they quits. And I mean, her husband is her and her husband was half the band, so
Yeah, that's kind of weird. Yeah, that's cool. You got to see that at least because I
oh,
don't know if they're doing anything else, but that's cool. But
they are doing Sonic Temple,
oh, cool. That'd
which
be,
looks like a better Blue Ridge.
Nice.
like
But
festival lineup, Slaughter to Prevail, and stuff like that.
yeah, that did look good. We unfortunately don't have anything like that in like Oregon or Washington, which bums me out. The closest one is Aftershock in Sacramento, and I have a lot of friends and family in Sacramento, so I've been down there a lot. I lived down there for a while, but yeah, nothing up here. It's like, come on, Portland, what the fuck? Like,
You
I
would think.
mean, you think you'd be, ripe for it, but I guess not.
Well, we used to have Carolina Rebellion, and
Oh yeah.
that went by the wayside. They tried to do one in Rockingham, which is only 30 minutes from where I live. They did it 1 year, and then they said, "Oh, we're gonna move it back to the raceway," and then COVID, and then dead.
Mm, yeah, those. I mean, I obviously never worked at any of them, but I can only imagine that like when those things go south, like somebody loses their house. You know what I mean? Like if you fuck up that job, like that's a fly out of the seat of your pants year to year thing. It's not like they're rolling in the dough making that work. It's like it's got to be such a clusterfuck. And I'm still kind of curious. I haven't followed up, but I'm sure some of the people in who did the Blue Ridge are going to get in like legal trouble or like gonna like go bankrupt and shit. That was gnarly. And again, obviously it's not always that bad, but it's like, I mean, there's a handful of like Euro festivals that have canceled like at the last minute where they'll pay the deposits for all the bands, they'll get it all set up, they'll get the logistics set up, and then like a month before, like right before like the deadline or whatever, when they can pull plugs, they'll see like what pre-sales are, and if they're not in the black, at least to like a reasonable degree or like trending that way, they just have to pull the plug. I think the snapback post COVID of everybody wanting to do festivals and wanting to come back, the demand is definitely there, but like anything else, it's going to get oversaturated like we're seeing. So I mean, regardless, I'm still looking forward to hopefully playing some of those festivals with Bleed the Sky in 2024 and 5 and beyond. But yeah, good stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, festivals are one of those rare experiences where people pay to go see a ton of bands, shorter sets, but great sets and having a good time.
Yeah,
But
they're so much fun. It's man, they're so much fun to play too, because it's like I've played a handful of fests in my day, and they're just like, you play your set, you hang out backstage, and you'll usually see somebody or it's just good vibes and good times, man. You do your job, you play your set, get a shower and some decent grub, and then go drink beer with your buddies. If you don't have to leave, I've definitely done that where you have to like shit, I want to see Judas Priest later, but we have a van call at 7 p.m. We got to get back on the bus and get out of here. So when it's not that, it's a lot of fun for sure.
of course. So, speaking of playing festivals and playing shows, do you happen to recall a favorite experience of yours with a show or a festival or tour of some kind?
That's a hard one. Let's see. I have some of my old tour posters right here. Actually, I'm looking at some of them. Tour, a favorite tour. I did a tour and I played in a band called Alter Beast. And we went out with Chelsea Grin, Suicide Silence, and the Black Dahlia Murder. And that was
great.
That was rad. That was 30 days straight of just badass fun. I met my wife on that tour too, which was really cool. Yeah, so that was probably my favorite tour. Rest empowered Trevor. He's, him and I became buddies on that one, and he later did a guest spot for me on a different record. So that was cool to work with him, and that makes me sad. But favorite show, festival, I did like a self-help fest. Ooh. which is in like Southern California. The guys in A Day to Remember put it on, and I was filling in for a band, and I flew to LA and rehearsed with them for a few days. And then that was my first show with them filling in was Self Help Fest, and there was like 16,000 people or something. It was like my first time playing live with them. So that was, and it was hot as fuck. It was like 1 or 2 p.m. We were on early. It was an all day festival. It started like 11 a.m. and we were definitely on the earlier side, and just in Southern California in like it's like April or something. It wasn't that late, April or May, but it was Southern California, so it was just sun. But that was pretty cool. That was pretty fucking nuts. Yeah, I'd have to say that one.
Okay. Do you have a worst experience?
Like a single show worst experience.
Uh, yeah, single show or something like that.
Yeah. I think I remember playing in Arizona once, Phoenix, I want to say, on like a Tuesday night, and there was nobody there. It was really, really thin. And except I saw somebody in the audience that I recognized. It was Max Calvera was there watching my band play on a Tuesday night. So that sucked. We played okay. That same tour we played a back ass words. Like, we didn't play Portland, Oregon, where I'm from. We played like Salem, Oregon, which is 3 hours south at like this like weird like fucking, it was some kind of bar, some kind of pub with half ass of a stage and like a fourth of a PA system. It was like, and we played 3 songs. And we played 3 songs. It was just like, this is fucking dumb. And of course, like a bunch of my like family friends drove down to see me, and it was like, don't. I told them like, you're not gonna want to come to this one, and they were like, no, we want to see you. And God damn it, I have a very weird pushback. I don't know, the opposite of fit.
Oop, it's like you're breaking up. Let me pause it here. We're back.
We're back. No, yeah. I have a very, very strong like feeling when it comes to basically if you don't like the kind of music I make, if you're not a fan of this kind of music and you're just coming to see like me because you're my friend, I don't like that. Don't do it, because I know you're not enjoying yourself and I feel weird that you're here, and it's like, let's get dinner after, let's get drinks after, let's go to lunch before, let's do something, anything but you come to watch my set, because it'll be like, anyway, that's I just learned that throughout my years. That was pretty bad. I threw my back out once on at a festival playing in Germany. That sucked, and I could tell I threw it out. But the adrenaline, I was just, I was on stage, so I was rocking with it and going with it. But afterwards, I was like fucking sciatica, old man shit in my lower back, and I was like, I had to be lifted into my back. Someone had to help me, like lift me into my bunk on the bus, because my back was so fucked. And the next like 3 shows, I just drank 6 beers before my set each time. I just got kind of drunk so I wouldn't be in so much pain, and then went and played the shows. That was interesting.
Yeah, man. You powered through it though.
I mean, the show must go on, man. Show must go on.
What is it with all the Salems having weird joints to play at? I played in Salem, Virginia at what we called a haunted CC's.
Okay, what's a CC?
CC's is a pizza buffet place.
Oh, CC's. Oh, yeah. Okay, I know CC's. Holy, okay, damn, weird.
So I don't remember the name of the place. But it's like a family pizza buffet place during the day, and then in the evening it's a 18 plus, or I think it's an 18 plus music venue.
Okay.
The stage is like several squares being held up with metal. There's a hole somewhere on the left side of the stage that I had to dodge
Hmm.
uh, because if I stepped on it, because it had carpet over it, if I stepped on it, I would go, yep, directly through it. Um, Pizza was like cracker crust
Mm,
with like the most, it was not good at all.
delicious,
The
dude. I
bartenders did not know how to make drinks whatsoever. Um, one of
Good
our
fun.
friends, they were like, I want a, what they say? They wanted a whiskey sour or something like that.
Hmm.
They were like, how do I make that?
Bogus, man. And I know those shows, though that feeling, the shows you play and they make you question your existence. They make you question like your life choices. In 2017, I did a run, 5 shows. 2 were real venues. One was a pizza place. No, 2 were pizza places, and one was the sidebar of a bowling alley. And this was when I was in a band called the Kennedy Vale, and we were out with the Zenith Passage back in 2017. So, yeah, it's like downstairs at a pizza place, upstairs at a pizza place, real venue, and then it was like the side bar that had like a fucking foot high stage where I'm on stage and I can see the double, like the bar's there, the double doors are there, and the double doors go to the bowling alley where there's like a 12-year-old girl having a birthday party. Like, man, I need to reevaluate my life choices.
Edith Passage was on that.
Yeah, man, that was, I forget, I think it was us two. I don't know who else was, I can't remember who else was on that one, but it was when Greg was still in the band. Obviously Justin, because, and then I forget who the other guitar player was when they had that time, or bass. I don't even remember. I just
Who
remember hanging out with Justin and Greg a lot.
who booked the bowling alley?
Brother, I don't even know. I don't even know who our agent was at that time. No, I do know who our agent was at that time, and I don't want to throw him under the bus. I, I don't think we worked with him very long after that. I will say that my one of my projects, Ember Throne, has the drummer of the Kennedy Vale. And we were talking about looking for agents. He was like, let's not use that guy. But that guy's he's doing much bigger stuff now. So
Good.
he's doing well. And I'm sure he feels bad for booking us at a bowling alley. But hey, we got paid. So,
Hey, that's the important part, man. Getting paid.
yeah, played a few lanes,
Oh, there you
picked
go.
up a couple splits, sold some shirts. It was a good time.
Bowl a couple
Somewhere,
back there.
yeah, somewhere in Middle Valley. I can't even tell you where the fuck it was. I just remember being on the phone with my girlfriend and just pontificating about reevaluating my place in the universe. Like, what the fuck am I doing? I want to come home. This sucks. But yeah, man. Hey, sometimes you play to 5 people, sometimes you play to 5,000. It's you roll with the punches. You take you can get, and you can give the same performance every time.
Yeah. Uh, and that's what separates the men from the boys, as they say.
Yeah, yeah, I'd say so.
So
I
what do
mean,
you,
like I said, as I say, 20 minutes ago, we just played 3 songs at that one shitty place. So maybe I need to practice what I preach a little more.
I think that was an exception. You get a
Okay.
chance on that.
Okay. Yeah. If any place called Salem, you can just play 3 songs and get the fuck out of there,
Yeah.
lest you might fall through the CC's floor. You never know. It's
Yeah. Or your then girlfriend, now wife, passes out because of the strobe lights.
oh Jesus, man, that sounds awful. That happened.
Yeah, so
Oh,
she the lights were so bad and flat, they flashed so bad.
mm.
She like just completely passed out.
Full on Pokemon style, right? Just
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
Oh, brutal.
I was like, I don't think you should do that, hon.
Can someone check on my girlfriend, please?
I caught her and she was like, I'm like, okay, you're gonna go lay down for a little bit.
Yeah, let's call this. Let's call it.
We'll come back later. Came back for my buddy's final couple songs of their set, and she wore sunglasses for that part.
Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That works.
That's right. I wear sunglasses sometimes to the venues because those lights, man, get bright.
Dude, yeah, it can get pretty brutal.
In this
Get pretty
moment,
brutal.
that one's that flash really bright. And I don't know if they were doing pyro for their entire tour, but their pyro was flashing bright too. And I was like, woo, I need an eye break for a minute.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah, it can get pretty grating watching three bands and having them all have brutal ass lives like light production. That can get really rough.
I mean, it's very pretty, but you're
Yeah.
definitely about that.
Well, like our boy Josta says, no one leaves humming the light show. So maybe focus on your live sound a little more than blinding and making your patrons pass out.
Yeah. What do you mean? I hum the light show all the time. I go,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Remember that light show? I mean, I guess to fair point, like there are a couple shows that I do remember. I do remember the light show and being like blown away by the light show. So I guess maybe, maybe next time I'm on Josta, I'll question him on that. That'll be the next tinfoil hat rabbit hole we'll pop down.
Sounds good. I mean, live shows are definitely certain live shows are definitely a spectacle. I mean, I've seen Iron Maiden, and
Oh
their
wow.
show is insane. I don't know how he still runs like that across the stage and does all the stuff he does, jumping.
He's superhuman, man. Bruce Dickinson at his age is still going. That guy's gnarly. Good for him though.
Oh yeah. And then they got the huge Eddie.
Yeah. All the production, the different weird stage props that are all on there for like the different eras of their career. I would love to see Maiden. I never have. Thought about going to that Power Trip festival, but like Jesus Christ, it was like $800 or something. So I thought and they were like, I kept expecting them to like announce more bands, but it was just two bands a day. That was it. It was like Metallica and like Guns N' Roses and Judas Priest and Tool and Maiden, all these huge names, right? AC/DC, all these huge names, but it was like, oh, okay, cool. Those are the headliners. Who's playing during the day? And it was nobody. It was like $800. So plus flights and plus like all that shit. It's like I'm out at least $1,500 each. Or if like my wife and I want to go, I'm like $2,000 to go see just those bands and no one else, and like just hang out during the day in the middle of the fucking desert in Indio, California. That was odd, but I would like to see Maiden before I die, before Bruce Dickinson dies. Probably he'll probably beat me to that. But
I was gonna say it. I don't know.
I don't know. He might outlive me, man. I'm 36. I mean, I try to take care of myself, but he's been running around on stage every night for 50 years and probably has the funds to keep himself youthful. So who knows?
I mean, Ozzy's still alive and kicking, so if he can live this long,
Yeah, he's alive. I don't know if he's kicking though, man. He just doesn't seem to be doing so hot. I don't think Ozzy's. I don't think I think we've probably seen the last of Ozzy hitting the stage. I got to play Ozfest in 2017, and he headlined that night, and that was a fucking bucket list item to do. Obviously didn't get to meet him or anything and didn't see him, but like just playing the same day as Ozzy Osbourne was like, okay, I'll tell my grandkids that one,
Yeah, of course. Well, if Ozzy Osbourne has anything to say about it, he's got another record in him and another tour.
Yeah,
he puts out another record.
Exactly. We got to figure out like robots or like androids or something and give him like bionic, I want him to be Darth Vader up there. I have more machine than man, If anyone can do it, Ozzy can. So the scientists need to hurry up on that like Aussie Android tech. Let's get
Yeah.
it going.
Maybe a translator while we're at it.
yeah, yeah, that would be helpful.
I
That would be
saw him on
helpful.
the Osbourne's podcast that they have now. He went,
Oh yeah, they started that now. Yeah, wow,
I was like, dude,
that's a good
what
impression.
are you saying?
Yeah, it's gonna
I've
use
never,
AI. You gotta get some AI shit to translate Aussie. He'll sound clear as a bell.
or
That shit's
maybe
amazing.
sing everything and then we'd understand him.
Yeah, that's my favorite Horatio Sands sketch from early 2000s era SNL was that he's playing Ozzy at like a McDonald's and they can't understand his order, but he sings the order and they can understand it.
And that's exactly what I think when I think of Ozzy every
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
So do you guys use in-ear mixes for the stage?
Um we haven't set them up. I think the guys want to.
Okay.
I dipped my toe into that for the first time but last year actually. It was last year. I did a tour with my other band and our bass player set all that up and it was definitely an odd it was kind of jarring, it felt really weird doing it for as long as I have with just wedges. But going to in-ears, at first I didn't like it, and then when I got used to it and dialed it all in, it's like it's such a great experience. I really do like in-ears. And I think the guys want to set it up, but it is really expensive. And I think we might, if things keep moving, if things keep going, and we, obviously there are no plans to not. Like our plan is to continue and keep moving along. But I don't think we'll like, hey, we have the first 5 shows back, in since the pandemic. Let's drop $5,000 on a rig for in-ears. It's like let's get our sea legs again, and then it's not of utmost importance for us right now. But because again, we're all old fucks who know how to do it with wedges and kind of how to navigate those waters. So in due time, I reckon. But I do like them. They are definitely next level. My buddies in Cryptopsy came through recently, and I toured with Cryptopsy, and me and Matt have been buddies for a while. I've done his podcast a couple times, and they always sounded great. Like Flo's a killer drummer, and they're all fantastic musicians. But this was the first tour that they were on in-ears, and when you've seen a band 20 times, when you tour with them, it's like you kind of. And then you see them a couple of years later and they're all on in-ears. It was just like, I told him on the bus afterwards, I was like, holy shit, you guys sounded amazing tonight. And he's like, this is our first tour on in-ears. And they're like 2 weeks in and they were dialed, man. They were like crushingly good. So yeah, I think it could definitely raise the bar, raise the game of any band. A lot of bands fight it. A lot of bands don't want to do it. But when you get locked in, you have that system dialed. It's a no-brainer.
Man, I saw some in-ears on Temu the other day. I was tempted to buy it and see just how good they are for $5.
Yeah, I wouldn't get those. Yeah, but the thing is, you got to have everybody else in the band on them, and you got to have the wireless systems, and you got to have it all dialed in. And my other project has it like our bass player is a fucking whiz, and he set it up that you just buy the license, you buy the packs, which was like $90 for the pack. I bought like the Shure PX90s, like the really basic ones, like the kind of just entry level ones, like $100. And then the license for each user was like $100, and then it's all on an app. And then he has like the amp and like it's crazy. Like I don't pretend to know, I'm a fucking caveman, but there's an app on my phone. Like literally, I'm able to change the mix in my in-ears on stage with my phone. So when we're sound checking, like I have all the things, like I can just go up and down, and I have the whole bus right there, and I can change everything. And it's nuts. So we're all on that same system, so we can change it. So I know when I put my in-ears in and it's my license that everything is curtailed exactly to how I like it. And I don't have to like mix or check anything. I know it's going to, if I put them on a year from now, it's going to be the same settings that's saved. And it was like all said and done was like to get it all set. It was just remarkably cheap compared to like the barrier to entry. I remember on that Chelsea Grin Suicide Silence and Dahlia tour I told you about. Like I remember the Chelsea Grin guys were talking about how they spent 30 grand on a live full in ear, all DI, no live cabs, all direct. And it was 30 grand, and that was like 2014. And then fast forward to 2022, and it's like I think like it cost each of us individually a couple $100, if that, and then plus like an extra $500 to get it like set up, and then it's done. We all had it. It took a lot of finagling to get it all dialed, but it was just remarkable how cheap it is, and the benefit for a band to have that. I think it's worth doing for sure for any band.
I love it, man. I gotta agree with you on that. It is,
Yeah.
especially wow, $30,000.
Yeah, I mean they had they had like the whole fucking 9 yards though. It sounded amazing, obviously, and they were super dialed in.
I'm sure they've
Yeah,
made money back.
I'm sure. Yeah, Chelsea Grin. They still do great. But back then, they were even doing better. Actually, I don't know that. I'm sure I don't know. I've lost touch with those dudes, but I'm sure they do really really well.
Sound good.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's my opinion on in ears. I'd like to, but again, it's like we get so many moving pieces to get this ship back up and running again in like show shape, where it's like that's a nice to have and not a need to have, you know?
Yeah, of course. In due time.
Yeah.
Okay, I like it. So we're reaching the end of the podcast, and this is my favorite part of the podcast because I stole it from another podcast.
Okay, cool.
It's called the Dream Festival.
Okay.
I stole it from the Downbeat podcast with Craig Reynolds from Stray.
Word. Okay.
So I'm gonna walk you through it. We're gonna do your Dream Festival. Gonna go through all the different parts of it, and it's by the end of it, we'll have something that resembles a festival.
Okay. Okay.
So first thing we got to start off with is where in the entire world is it gonna be? It can be absolutely anywhere, and we're not even talking about venue. We're just talking about general location.
Yeah, man. Like Big Sur, Southern California, that like Montecito, Santa Barbara, Big Sur, like around there, like above LA, where it's like the weather is like always flawless, you know? Like kind of like that when you think of a Beach Boys song, California, that kind of California, that's where it would be. Cause that's just beautiful weather. Love it.
Good old surfing USA, California.
Yeah, man.
I love it. So now we're gonna transport a venue there.
Uh,
Are we doing arena? Are we doing like a festival ground? What are we looking at here?
we can transport any venue there.
You can put any venue you want there.
Okay. The old what is it? I guess it was like an old fort, an old armament, an old castle where they have brutal assault in the Czech Republic every year. That place is so fucking cool. That place is just the vibe there. Like the two stages. It's like I don't know, it's like 5 to 10,000 people. It's not like huge, but it's big enough, but it still feels intimate, you know, the way that those grounds are set up and like the history there. I want to transport 1,000-year-old Czechoslovakian castle into Big Sur. Now we're moving. Now we're cooking. I like it.
We are cooking. And speaking of cooking, what's the catering like?
Oh, dude, it's got to be barbecue all day. Like we talked about earlier, man. Barbecue, gotta have some vegan barbecue options. There's a few of those out there, weirdly enough.
Good vegan options.
Yeah, barbecue and pizza, dude. That's all you need. No, I'm sorry. No, barbecue and tacos.
And you can brisket tacos, barbecue tacos.
Just mix it up. There you go. I like it. Okay.
That's you're making me hungry.
The beans cross over. You know, you could do baked beans or like fried beans. You can try fucking mix and match. Now we're on to something. Okay. I'm getting hungry too. I just ate dinner and I'm getting hungry again.
So, where are you going to be staying? Like, what's the accommodations for you? Like, are we
Mm.
doing hotel? We doing glamping, camping? You staying on site? What are we looking at?
We talking like me going or me performing?
You being there because let's say you're gonna be there for the night or the next 2 nights or however long the festival is.
Mm. I mean, I guess it is a fantasy situation. So I'd like to say like, hotel or something, but it's not there's not a lot of infrastructure in that neck of the woods. Probably camping. I mean, who wouldn't want to camp out there too? It's beautiful. Like it's, you think of anywhere you want to spend the night outside, like that's a pretty bitchin' place. So yeah, I think camping would be acceptable. That'd be all right there. Not swampy, not hot, not cold, just that beautiful Beach Boys air.
Yeah, and you're camping right in front of the Czechoslovakian castle.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So now we're gonna set up the stage. We're gonna set up the actual festival. So
Mm.
you said there's gonna be 2 stages. So
I
how many days are we looking at? One, two, three?
think two is probably good.
Like
If people get haggard at three, 3 and 4, like unless you mean I don't know, Vakken knows what they're doing. Some of the download knows what they're doing, but like I don't know, it's a lot of logistics. I think two, maybe three. Let's say that. That sounds like a sweet spot.
okay, we'll stick with the two for the.
Okay, for the sake of it, yeah.
So we got 2 stages because you said there's 2 stages in this. We got 2 stages, 2 days. Uh, we got to place your band into the lineup because that's the one trick of it. You're playing the festival.
Okay. Oh, that's a good question. Let's do. I mean, we haven't been around for a while. I mean, we've been around for a while. I'm new to the camp. Um, but believe this guy hasn't toured a lot recently, so I don't want to like jump the gun, but I don't want to open. Obviously, there's a sweet spot like around like twilight where people are starting to get kind of lit and they're warmed up. They've kind of settled in, they're getting ready, their energy's starting to like they've reserved the energy to start being released now. You know what I'm saying? I want to be like, what do you say? Like if there's, I don't know, for sake of round numbers, 10 bands on each stage
Yeah.
for the day, right? Let's say that. I want to be like number five or six, and then let like the biggins close the night out and let them get progressively bigger as it goes. I want exponential growth. I don't want it to be like, a little bit here and then here and then here. I want it to be like us, and then like Shadows Fall coming back, and then I'm talking like Lamb of God, and then Metallica. I want like boom, boom, boom. I don't want it like I want it fucking going huge.
Okay.
Yeah, one stage should be more metal themed, and one stage should be more hardcore themed, and have them back and forth. Do like the load off on one side, so this stage is going, this one's loading, and then they swap, kind of a thing, and have it be just like a lot of new wave of American heavy metal, a lot of early metalcore, a lot of really cool influential hardcore, and then just some fucking badass banger death metal bands in there too somewhere.
I like it. And you're flowing right nicely into a lineup. What are some of the bands? You don't have to give me
Mm,
all 20 bands for each day, but give me a couple of the headliners and give me a couple of the smaller bands.
word. Dahlia's got to be in there. Terror's got to be in there. Shout out to my buddies in Vitriol. Got to be on the bill. I had Kyle and Adam over last night. We had a bonfire. We were hanging out, and he brought me over there. He forgot it here, but I need to give it back to him when I see him. But he brought over the new record. and just to show off the art 'cause it's out next month. And dude, it's if you're everyone listening to this, buy that new record from them. It's fucking awesome. Let's see, other hardcore Converge has got to be on there. I mean that's a dream of mine. The Fit for an Autopsy dudes have always been sick. I'm kind of blanking on some of the more hardcore stuff. Comeback Kid got to be on there on the hardcore side.
Live show.
What's that?
They put on a great live show.
Oh yeah, they're so sick. They're so sick. Stick to Your Guns. Yeah. That's just all. I mean, I'm trying to think of some other kind of some newer bands that are really doing it really well. But I'm blanking right now. Something like that, something that's kind of like, I mean, I love black metal and I love, industrial and doom and stuff, but like this, if it's my festival, that's what I want to see in there. I want to see Skeleton Witch get back together too.
Okay. And because it's a dream festival, they are getting back together for
Hey, they're back. They're back, man. Sweet. I'll be there. I'll see you there, I hope.
Yeah, I'll be front row to every single. I'll teleport to the front row of each stage.
Boom.
I love it, man. What are you gonna call this festival?
Oh man,
I know this is the hardest part.
I'll name it after a legendary festival. Pay homage. It'll be the Big Day Out in Big Sur. We'll call it that.
I like it. We're gonna make a poster of it.
Perfect. I love it. Tell AI to do it. They'll get Dolly or whatever, Chat GPT. It'll mop that up real quick.
Yeah, I'll put it in the corner.
Nice.
I'm sure it'll look something resembling a poster, maybe.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Maybe not have any words that are legible, but
it'll do its best. I'm kind of curious to see what it does to make like fake death metal logos.
I'll send it to the Bleed the Sky Instagram for y'all to take.
Yes, please do.
Well, your festival sounds great.
Thanks, man.
So do you got any plugs, any shout outs you want to do?
Yeah. So keep your eyes out for new Bleed the Sky stuff. It's coming. It is a couple songs are again done and dusted and ready to rock and roll, ready to be released. We're just kind of waiting to kind of pull the trigger on certain strategies, but we're not done by any means. We're just getting started on a lot of stuff. So very excited for the world to hear what we've been working on, especially the guest we have on this upcoming video. Could not be more stoked for that.
I'm excited.
Yeah. It's I think it's the cool best song we've released so far. For sure. It'll be at least with me in the band. I think we've only released 2 songs with me, but like this one is definitely the best. Check out my other band, other projects. I'm in a band called Ember Throne, which is on Seek and Strike Records. It's kind of tech death groovy with vibe and feel, and more focus on like songwriting over like just techness. It's got the drummer, my buddy Gabe Sieber. He drums in he's over playing with Obscura right now. He drums in Decrepit Birth. He drums in Veil of Nath. He's an old buddy of mine, so he did this record with us, and we're working on a new one. I'm in a band called Lesser Animal from here in Portland. A bunch of members of other projects. Our guitar player was in Arsonist, Get All the Girls, the Century Media band, for like 15 years. Our drummer was in, he still is, because they're doing stuff again, American Me, which is a Rise Records like hardcore band. We were really grindy, kind of sound like an agoraphobic Nosebleed meets like a lot of Pig Destroyer, Napalm Death, that kind of vibe, with a little bit of like Trap Them in there. So check us out online. Those are my projects. That's all I got.
Where can they find you on the socials?
I'm not really on them really. When Wayne and the guys bug me to post something, I'll like track down my password and log back into Instagram because it's still up. but I don't ever use it. And every time I log in, there's like my messages are like 90 things I was tagged in that are all expired. I just don't. Social media is fucking poison. I hate it, and I'm only on it to promote band stuff, and I do a bad job at that. So, uh, don't look me up on the internet. Read a book instead.
I like it. Read a book instead. Thank you so much, man. What song do you want the podcast to go out to that's has you on it?
Yeah, let's do the Parasite with Mark Hunter from Chimera.
Okay, we'll do that. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, man. I appreciate it.
Awesome, my pleasure. It's been a lot of fun, man. Appreciate it.
This episode has been produced, hosted, and edited by me, Austin Mullins. Special thank you to Monte Barnard from Bleed the Sky for coming on the podcast. Outro song is The Parasite featuring Mark Hunter by Bleed the Sky. And I hope to see you guys on the next episode of the podcast. Thank you very much, and have a good one.